This is Home Games. Thanks for being here with us. That is Rick Zamperin from 900 CHML Radio on the top row. Below him, Steve Milton from the Hamilton Spectator. Beside him, Bubba O'Neill from CHCH TV Sports. I'm Scott Radley from the Hamilton Spectator and 900 CHML Radio. Guys, there is new management in Pittsburgh with the Pittsburgh Penguins. Ron Hextall takes over there. Brian Burke goes down there. And they face one of the most interesting questions, I think, that any general managers, any hockey operations department is going to have for a long, long time. Could you trade Sidney Crosby now while he still has huge value? Because the Penguins, I don't think, are going to win a cup. This is your chance to rebuild fast. Steve Milton, could you, if you were there, honestly, really pull the trigger and trade Sidney Crosby?
I think that's one of the benefits of being new to town for the two people that are in there, that they haven't got sort of all those roots there. And there's some tough guy attitude among those two guys. I think they will look at it and I think they should. I talked to Crosby first before I did anything, but you've got to entertain every single offer. And you've got to get somebody who's really good back that's going to play and for sure right away, but and potentially a future superstar, but who knows what they're going to be. I think you really, really have to entertain it and look at it and look at it and look at it. And if you don't get a whole bunch back, like beyond, like if you don't get a Dallas Cowboys deal, then I think you've got to take a look at just hanging on to it. But a part of it's going to depend on what you gauge with Crosby. And secondly, not in the East. You don't trade him to the East if that's possible.
I think the answer right now is no, but that answer will change in maybe a couple of years. And the reason why the answer is no now is because Pittsburgh's window, remarkably, is still a little bit open. It's not completely shut. Not when you have guys like Malkin, Jake Gensel, Chris Letang, and always a liability defensively, but still productive offensively. Two goalies that I think maybe if one of them gets hot, they can go on a deep run. It's not as open as it used to be, that's for sure. But when you have one of the best all-around players in the NHL still going at 33, and yeah, obviously he's not 27, 28 in the prime of his career, but still one of the most dominant players of his era and still going right now, I think that window, because it's still open, I think they still got to go for it. I think, if anything, they're against the cap. So many other teams are. If they can make a deal this year to maybe make one more run at it, go for it. I think next year might be the year that you really seriously contemplate unloading Crosby.
That's fair.
You guys are nuts. Nope. Nada. Niet. That you just don't do that. He means too much to the community and too much to the team. They're one of the rare squads in the National Hockey League that have two superstars. If you want to do that with Geno Malkin, I'm okay with that. Sidney Crosby is ingrained in the area, and I know that, you know what, guy, with the Gretzky trade, anyone can be traded. But he's too much ingrained in that community. He's too much ingrained in that team. That is Sidney Crosby, the Pittsburgh Penguins. As Mario Lemieux was the face of that squad for many years, so is Sidney Crosby. And I think, Rick, you said it. He's 33 years old, right? You could still get 3 to 5 years, possibly more, as long as he stays away from the concussions and the way the game is being played nowadays with the protection of players. I can still see Sidney Crosby playing 3 to 5 years, because at the very best, and the way trades are going on nowadays, for even Sidney Crosby likes, for someone that's in that age group, you're going to get nothing more than futures. So I'd rather do that with Geno Malkin than number 87.
Oh, I think they'd love to do it more with Malkin, but Malkin's been pretty awful this year for the most part. So I don't know. That's the problem is, what do you get for him? And I think that you could theoretically get a ton for Crosby, especially because, and I was looking it up, that's why I was looking away for a moment there. I wanted to just check his contract. Sidney Crosby is making just a little bit more than William Nylander. I mean, his contract is the most favorable, friendly deal for a superstar, maybe in pro sports, for a veteran superstar. Why would you
get rid of it? Why would you get rid of that then?
Well, you wouldn't unless you've got some team that decides, you know what, we really, really need Sidney Crosby to put us over the top. And, you know, I don't know who that team is. That team may not exist. As Steve says, you have to get a Herschel Walker to the Dallas Cowboys type package. I don't know if that kind of thing exists.
I don't. I was about to say that my argument is almost basically theoretical, is that you really have to examine it. And the very first thing you do is talk to Crosby. If he's against it in any way, in any way, or then I don't think you can go there for all the reasons that you've mentioned. But you owe it to the team, and you owe it to the future of the team to investigate everything. And I think you're right too, Scott. There probably isn't a 9-player thing out there unless somebody really wants to give up there, but nobody's going to give up their draft choice anymore.
Another thing too.
Remember, they had problems with Lemieux over the ownership in the mid 90s and about, but it also really hurt the franchise at that time too. They really fell off. They started not drawing very well. There was ownership issues, all of those kinds of things. So until he came back and then also became an owner, the whole Lemieux thing had reverberations in that city.
The other thing with Crosby's contract as well, it's for another 4 years after this year at $8.7 million. So yeah, that's less than guys like Austin Matthews and John Tavares and Mitch Marner from the Maple Leafs. Way less than Connor McDavid, Jonathan Taves, Patrick Kane, some of the elite players in this league. So if he goes anywhere, I mean, this team is not only getting a superstar, but a bargain as well. But, and I know there's rumblings that, he may one day want to play with Nathan McKinnon, whether it's, in a year's time or a couple of years' time. Colorado would have to, back up the Brinks truck in terms of, prospects, draft picks, maybe a young, blue chip kind of guy who's already on their team, like a Cale Makar. But I'm not sure if they're willing to deal a guy like that to get a Crosby for one run. They might, but it takes two to tango as well. And Crosby's going to want to go to where he's going to be shipped.
That's a good one. I haven't thought as much about Colorado.
Yeah, I think if you're talking about McKinnon, you bring McKinnon to Pittsburgh, right? I mean, I'm sorry.
That's a squad that Colorado could be around a long time.
And you talk about Malkin, I'm sorry. I mean, he's off to a bad start, but you look at the big body of work of Gino Malkin, not so much that he's off to a bad start. He's too valuable an asset to not get a lot of value from. I'm sorry, Sidney Crosby's got to stay in Pittsburgh.
Here's the one other thing that makes this so complicated, and that is Pittsburgh over the years with Jim Rutherford has traded so many draft picks that even if you're Brian Burke and Ron Hextall, you say, well, you know what we're going to do? We're going to run Sidney Crosby as far as we can run him. It may end up that as a result of that, by the time he's done, we're at the bottom of the league, and we'll pull a Detroit or we'll pull a Toronto or an Edmonton and hope that we get a new Sidney Crosby, a new Mario Lemieux. That's what they've had for 30 years, basically, is one of the league's best players. But they don't have draft picks. So even if they go down, swirling down the tubes, they don't have the immediate fix or even the long-term fix. So, it's a real challenging situation for them.
Well, the extension of that is if you trade Crosby, you're trading others, because you've got and to get those draft picks that will help, as well as hope, as well as hoping you do well in the lottery, which of course it's a lottery.
Well, and we got to go, but and look at the lottery. I mean, you can be Detroit and be atrocious and not win the lottery.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's kind of blown up in your face, or you can be Toronto and be atrocious and win the lottery, and within 3 or 4 years you're one of the elite teams in the league. But it's a lottery. It's a lottery. And the reason we're doing this show right now is because none of us have won a lottery. Otherwise, probably there'd only be 3 of us on here. Or
Pittsburgh's not trading.
Scott.
Pittsburgh's not trading any of their superstars to a team that's at the bottom of the standings in a lottery situation.
That's right.
So they're going to have to find a partner that it makes sense in terms of prospects coming the other way.
What do you think? Would you, if you were Ron Hextall and Brian Burke, the tall foreheads of the Pittsburgh Penguins now, and you were sitting around talking about this, would you be open to trading Sidney Crosby, or is that just too impossible to do because he's Sidney Crosby? Let us know. We'd love to hear your comments. We'd love for you to subscribe. We'd love for you to know when these home games videos come out. We do them regularly now. We would love to talk with you again soon. Take care.